Welcome everybody to the. Oh
no, we're good. We're
we're
good.
good. Welcome everybody.
Welcome everybody. We're live.
Live on Facebook and on Skype. I finally got it working. Except these are completely useless right now. So
we're live with the Crocodile King Alan Compass.
How's it going?
How you doing, sir?
Good. A little tired. I took a nap. We had a long drive yesterday back to Connecticut from North
where were
Carolina.
you? Oh, you were in the Carolina. Nice.
We wrestled down south. We had 3 days scheduled to wrestle there. We got one of the days got canceled because the roof caught fire. That was I
But I definitely remember you messaging me all about that, and it's crazy. Why?
I'm going back. Well, I'm switching to back and forth to see if anyone's joined the live yet.
I wouldn't worry about it right now. So let's just get moving on this. Since we're live and recording. So Alan, first things first. How's everything been with you, my man? You know, it's been a while since I've seen you at a show. Actually, I think it's been a whole year, which is ironic. Last time I
met you a year ago today.
On this day.
So that's
a weird coincidence. I've been doing good, very busy, which is never a bad thing. Picking up a lot of shows. Right now, I believe I've got 32 confirmed dates, which blows my mind.
Let's go.
Let's hit
which brings me to I was like, they turned into heart emojis. I wasn't expecting that.
Let's go.
Yeah. I met you at 2TW, which is where I will be seeing you again very soon. Very excited.
Yes, you will, sir.
So
cannot wait.
I'm excited.
What's really funny, ironic, is it's like I've seen you maybe a handful of times. You know, what's funny is most of the times I've seen you have been at 2TW. And it's crazy that we're having this interview on the same day that we last saw you a year ago
at 2TW,
where she met you for the first time, and I, saw you probably for the second or third time.
And it was funny on my Snapchat because it'll like go back to whenever, a year or 2 years, whatever, flashbacks. And it was funny because I panned to Billy and he just got sprayed in the face by Fly-Nye. So and then it was all you guys coming out, I guess, to do who passed away, unfortunately.
It was for the Big Jim Cup.
Yeah. So all you guys came out and it was just
Oh, my mom is curious.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Mom.
So wait, is she obviously
she says hi,
she's from
and
Australia.
that's just carried away.
So now I have off-topic question about Australia, and I think I've asked you this in the past about the pugs being that big, which again, as to why I'll never I'm sorry, I think your country is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I think it's so beautiful, and the food has got to be amazing because I love barbecue, but I could never ever go there because spiders are bigger than me. I just can't. If a spider is the size of a house, no, I'm good. I first off, I'm not going to spend 24 hours on a flight to go where a spider could eat me. So I'm good. I can look at it from afar.
Spiders don't bother me. It's snakes. Funny story. When I was younger, I did cross-country running, and that was outside in the woods. And I remember taking second place in states, and it was only, in all honesty, because I almost stepped on a snake halfway through the race, and I sprinted the last mile and a half. My mom said, it looked like I wasn't touching the ground. I probably wasn't.
You just flashed.
Goodbye.
Fun.
So.
Well, see, these things wouldn't bother me.
Snakes will bother me.
Except for yesterday, I we were watching the AEW pay-per-view, and Simon, I think he's met Simon and Michael. They were over at the house, and I was just scrolling through TikTok, and there was an anaconda just in someone's pool. And I was like, that's where I draw the line with snakes. If a snake can swim and breathe underwater, I'm good. I like snakes. Don't get me wrong.
I don't like snakes.
He had not his pet snake, but someone had left a snake.
Long story short,
in his house,
I had an old roommate. So I had an old roommate. They adopted a snake, and
Jafar.
Long story, and it was named Jafar after Aladdin. Long story short, they left the snake behind when they moved out of the apartment. They told me they were going to take it, and then their new apartment didn't allow them to take snakes and everything.
Well, they also were moving cross country.
And they didn't take the snake. And what are you doing, Kelsey?
No, I'm just messing around with it.
And they didn't take the snake, and I felt bad because as much as I don't like snakes, I'm not going to let the thing die or hurt the thing. So it was really uncomfortable for me to
get over your
the fear, but I kind of had to at times. So I would still buy it like frozen mice to eat and everything because you can't feed it.
Except the day it went missing that you freaked the fuck out.
You can't feed it salad. Let's just say that.
No, it. I was the animal care specialist for the Milford Petco for a while, and that also involved taking and caring and feeding snakes, some of which needed to be like hand fed with a syringe because they were sick, and that was the scariest thing in my entire life ever.
I mean, I could see that being
because I gotta take care of them. I need them to be okay. But I also need them to not eat me or attack.
Like, please don't eat me. I'm trying to take care of. But that's how we feel. Like, I think like all the other animals, like even Tasmanians, I know they're like, I think of like the little guy from Looney Tunes, but I know they have the Tasmanian island. Like they have like all these cool features in Australia. But then you get to the spiders that are like big. Okay. I've seen them on the side of a house. No, like if that
I love how he goes like this every time he's ready.
Like I would definitely be arrested for arson because if I came home, driving my car, coming home from work, and that fucker was just on the side of my house, I'd light it on fire. Like I would get arrested because they'd be like, "Man, why did you light your house on fire?" Well, do you see the dead spider carcass? That's why.
You should Google spider rain. Spider rain in Australia is a thing where.
Is that what? It's like all webs and like all little
it's
spiders.
Like here's a whole bunch of spiders in the sky and the wind's like goodbye and then the spiders are like
I love that.
Now she's Googling it. So
and it says spider rain Australia.
So. But yeah, the whole story with the snake that freaked me out was one day I went to feed it.
There's a dog underneath it.
Oh my god. She's gonna have nightmares tonight now.
Like that is something out of a horror movie.
She's gonna have nightmares now, bro.
Like I can deal with Freddy and Jason like that. No.
So long story short, there was one night I fed the snake a frozen mouse, and I was getting ready to go out with my friend to go bowling, and I completely forgot to put the top back on the cage. And after I fed him, he managed to get out. And when I got home and I saw the cage like top off, and I saw that I didn't see him in the snake, I did oh no. And I was like searching around the house. I was like, oh man, because now he's probably somewhere. I don't know where he is. And I don't like not knowing where he is because this means well, now I got to find him. I got to literally pick him up and everything. And
you just called me. I would have came and was like,
no, because you would have put him on me again.
Yeah.
No, she one time put the steak on me and made me like
there's a YouTube video
hide in a bathroom for 20 minutes.
Well, he got me back again. My phobia is big.
With a plastic spider, though. It wasn't a real snake.
So when you first get home from bowling, you open the door, and my bathroom was in my apartment, you were first looking in, there was the bathroom door, it was right there. When you see something like this
she deserved
in a distance, no. And I've dealt with wood spiders.
Yeah, she almost went back to her dad's house.
Up here. Like they're not in this area for some oddball reason, but when you live in the more woody areas, there's these wood spiders and they're huge and they're like this and they look at you and they're like, what you gonna do? And you're just like, nothing, I'm gonna leave, you can have the house. So I thought it was one of those because when I lived in Putnam Valley, I used to get swarmed by them, and my poor cat at the time would just look at me like, I ain't killing that, it's bigger than me. Like, so I just assumed, oh, there it is again. Like, I'm out. And I called my dad crying, like, you need to come here and kill a spider.
So long story short, for 3 days, she didn't go into the bathroom because she actually thought they were real spiders until she figured out that they were plastic.
No, I saw like a plastic toy in my like waste paper basket. And I was like, what is that? Like thinking my cat, which Hunter is named after Triple H. We all know the story. I thought, because he likes to put toys in his mouth and like drop them places. So I was like, oh, he probably picked up a toy and like put it. And I look, and it's a plastic fucking spider. And I was just like, this motherfucker. All because I put a snake on him.
Well, payback is, what they say, a bitch.
Yeah.
But,
that was a good one, though.
But to be fair, mine was not an actual, real spider. So hers was a little bit more messed up because it was a real snake. So
needless to say, I don't prank him anymore.
So I will get her back.
Yes.
So, but I found the snake, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it was in a cabinet in the house.
He was looking for one.
Dude, it's crazy how they hide. I knew a guy. I don't understand it, but he lost a 2-foot snake for like 3 weeks. How do you lose a 2-foot snake?
That would
crazy.
be probably your worst nightmare. Like that spider rain is mine. A 2-foot snake being loose in your house.
Yeah.
And this guy would come into Petco and he'd show me videos, and I'd be like, he was not acquiring them legally. There's no way, because look, maybe you can buy anything online. I looked, I could buy an alligator if I wanted.
I've actually been trying to buy a stick bug in Australia for like 3 months.
Oh my god.
Well, this guy had a cobra, and I was like, sir, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but that's cobra, correct? And he said, yes. I said, okay, I'm going to continue my stupid questions. I go, and if it bites you? He goes, oh yeah, I'll be dead. But I can't stress the fact it wasn't like, hey, look, there's a cobra behind some glass. The video, it looked like he was on a dog tie-out trying to kill him.
That's just not a pet.
Doesn't make sense.
I get little garter snakes or whatever, those little garden snakes, like those little, like cute. But when it can wrap around your neck and kill you because it wants to, because it thinks you're food.
Like the boa.
Boas.
Like the boa.
Pretty innocent.
Like the boa that you put on me.
They can constrict.
Like the boa you put on me.
But they don't technically want to kill you. They just might.
Yeah,
see
like
you
the
as a
boa
prey.
that you put on me. So.
But that's like I don't know. I believe that certain reptiles should just stay in their lane. We stay in our lane. Let's not try to pick them as pets.
So because of how nervous I was with the snake, I had to literally reach my hand behind it, and I'm worried that I don't know if he's gonna think my hand is like food.
A rat.
Even though he seemed to be pretty good with people.
You should be pretty good as long as the thing is you don't want to. I'm assuming you're feeding him in the cage. Yes. Reaching your hand into the cage, he'd be more likely to strike you than outside of the cage.
That's why, but like because he was up in the cabinet, I didn't want him to mistake that as the cage and try to like come at me. But I was pretty sure he just ate, so I didn't think he would try to.
Yeah, they're pretty. Once they're full, they don't.
So I kind of reached behind him, and I took a little like it was like a little pasta colander, like the thing you strain pasta with, and I kind of like pushed him with my arm into the colander.
I bet your hand was shaking like a
I was nervous as hell. And then he kind of like he turned and he looked at me, but then he like sat back down.
Oh, he's like, oh, you found me.
And then I brought him over to the cage, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't just dump him in here. Like he's gonna get hurt. So I was like, oh. So I reached in there and I kind of like poured the colander a little bit into my hand. And I tried my best to place him in without hurting him. I think I might have dropped him maybe a tiny bit at the end, but
they're pretty resilient. They fall out of trees and they're pretty fine.
He seemed pretty chill at that point. Sad thing is, unfortunately, later that year he died because
I think he had a cold.
Unfortunately, you can't. Unfortunately, like there came a point. It was just like, I tried to change his water the best I could, but some things were it was hard, and unfortunately, it didn't work out. And I remembered my neighbor at the time who was coming by to check on him. I said, look, no, that was not my neighbor. That was Dino.
Oh.
Dino would have a habit of not only bringing animals into the house, wild animals into the house, like
snapping turtles
and skunks. Long family friend who loved to not collect animals, but he liked to rescue everything. He tried to take care of it when I went away for like 2 weeks at one point in the middle of November, and he forgot to feed it, and he forgot to like change the water. And I guess he didn't have the heat on in the house. And
the heat probably did it,
yeah.
I think he had a cold. I remember he was like, snakes will cough in a weird way. They kind of go like,
and it wasn't good because when I came home, unfortunately, he was upside down, which didn't really do good. So I told Dino that let's do something. Let's like try to give him a burial or something. It was weird. I sound so stupid. Messed up. So we dug a hole in the backyard. I told Dino to make sure it was deep enough. He didn't dig it deep enough, unfortunately. The next night, I think some raccoons or something got in, and it tore it up, and I was like, but
snake.
But enough on wildlife.
Wait, one comment though. So we went to the Dutchess County Fair over the summer, and they have like the exhibits of like reptiles and stuff, and they had a giant snake in there, and it was like above, like wrapped around or something. It fell asleep and fell, and you literally heard a whoop because it was like a cobra or one of those big anacondas.
Oh my God.
So I go up because I'm that person that went up to like the people at the front, and I was like, I don't know whose snake that is, but I think it died because it's like upside down, like on its back, like it fell. And then the guy goes, no, he's just a lazy bastard and falls asleep wherever he wants and then thinks he's not gonna fall. So I'm gonna go get him, and he was fine. So that's why I said to him, I was like, yeah, you can drop a snake, and they're pretty buoyant. Like for something that really doesn't have like legs and stuff, they're pretty buoyant. But yeah, enough about snakes. And
Let's enough about the wildlife.
but wait, one question about Australia though.
Oh my
spiders.
God,
Is it summer there now?
It's like the same. It's pretty close. They're pretty close.
Really?
Temperature wise, yeah.
Is it
It's
like
warmer.
the same all
It
year
snows
round?
in parts of Australia.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Do you miss it there? I'm just curious. You ever miss it? No. Is it because of the spiders? I would get that.
Snakes.
I would understand.
Okay.
All snakes.
That's understood.
All the
And I don't like
snakes.
the beach anywhere, so you know.
What?
It is my pet peeve. I don't like the beach. And the beach at Australia is worse. So
Okay.
What do you wait? I know there's a lot of surfers down there because I grew up on the Jersey Shore, and it's like you think Cali surfing or Hawaii surfing is like the best, but in reality, it's like Australia is where they get all their like action shots and stuff, especially in the winter here because over there it's warm or the water's
I've even
warmer.
surfed in Maryland.
Well, I grew up on the shore, so like everyone would talk about Cali or Australia surfing.
Oh, yeah.
So enough about wildlife and his homeland. I mean, obviously, first things first with wrestling. Now, what brought you from Australia all the way to Connecticut somehow?
Young, super duper young, just young. More family there. Lot of family all over there. Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, all over.
But you still have your accent pretty. It's not as thick, but I'm sure if you talk to someone like from your homeland, it would come out a lot more.
Sometimes it's in and out. Sometimes I have to force it a little harder than I want to.
Like crocodile.
Yeah. Crocodile. Yeah. There's certain things that I've said so many times that like I can't say the word Australia without it. So it's like it's a certain thing.
Right, when we say Australia, it's not.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to ask you now, when I first met you through 2TW, I know it was like 2 years ago. I think it was in 2020. I'm not sure if it was 22 or 21.
Around there.
I may have met you in 21 or 22. I remember, and I didn't even have an idea that you're Australian at the time.
I did not know.
Well, I thought he had more of like a what's it called? Like a
Oh, we were live.
There's like a kind of like, yeah, I know you had these like glasses and stuff, and kind of gave more of like I'm trying to think of the name, a steampunk vibe at the beginning. I thought that's what I thought you were more like.
I can see where he's thinking that. I can.
Yeah, and
your outfit is kind of steampunk-ish.
I like it. Yeah, now I've got a plethora of vests. A fan gave me a new vest at the last PAPW show, and I'm gonna put it in my rotation.
Nice.
Really cool.
And I didn't even know you were Australian at the time, so it completely threw me for a loop. And I felt so bad because I remember that first show like that I met you at. You came up to us, you were saying, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And everything, and I'm just it's like, I swear, me and him had a conversation on Facebook Messenger, and now I feel so bad because I don't remember if this is somebody that reached out to me. And then when I realized it after the show, I was like, oh, that was the guy who messaged me that one time. I feel like a jerk now, and I felt so horrible,
Yeah, don't. I'm a very personable people person.
I could tell that, and that's what I liked about you.
And that is kind of turned into the thing. Like, I was a bad guy at a lot of places, and it came to a point where, like, 2 examples, PAPW, I hit Marcel Williams with the crowbar, and everyone's like, yeah! I was like, what? He's like one of your favorite people. What happened? And I
want to get to PAPW at one of these days because I've been to one PAPW show in my life, and it's unfortunate because every time I know you're booked for a promotion, unfortunately, I'm going to another promotion that I'm already ticketed at. Unfortunately,
Don't you worry your faces, because I'm gonna be all over the place. I've got a lot of stuff coming your way.
Sweet. Well, I know I'll be seeing you at 2TW in April. That's a guarantee.
I'm actually surprising. Well, some people, only one person knows, but I'm actually going to be sitting commentater.
Oh, nice.
For TTW. I'm a face commentator though.
That's great. So like, cause I remember like there was a Test of Strength show that you were at hanging out. I think it was the Real Recognized Heels show back in December a year or two ago. And I was like, oh, like Don Kincaid pointed you out. I was like, oh, it's Alan Compass. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, oh snap. And I thought you were actually wrestling, but you were just coming to hang out.
I just still can't believe you didn't know he was either from England or Australia.
I didn't know he was either. Like I thought he had a steampunk gimmick thing.
It's this voice.
I didn't really hear his voice at the time.
His voice gives it right away that he's not either Thunder Down Under or
going forward now. What? Because obviously you train out of PAPW, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, with Paul Roma, obviously, right? And one of the original four
Paul Roma and Mario Mancini. Yeah.
Yep. And at a training school where we've seen a lot of faces come out of who have went on to do things on the indie scene. Like, did we lose you?
Oh, he's there.
We've seen some faces come out of that. We've seen some faces come out of the training school, like the Miracle Generation, Kylon King, and Justin Flash Waller, RJ Rude. I'm trying to name other people.
Yeah.
Richard Holiday, Alan Compass. I've seen that's you. The Haven. I think Lucas Chase for a while. You know, we've seen Bull Dread have a cup of tea there from every time now and then. And what made you decide Paul Roma's PAPW? I've always been curious about that. I always get fascinated on hearing the stories about where wrestlers wanted to go for their training schools.
It really wasn't anything go here or there for any reason. I like this guy more than that. You know, I trained for a bit at Test of Strength. Eventually, with my job, I couldn't get there as much as I needed to be there to do what I need to do. Paul's school welcomed me with open arms. I went in there. He had me run some stuff. He's like, let me see what you can do. He has really elevated me. He's elevated me. He's like a father figure to me now. Like I really look up to him like so much. I appreciate everything he's taught me. If I suck at something, he'll tell me, and I really, really appreciate that. That means, because I don't want anyone to be like, that was great. No, it wasn't. But
like what today's generation of kids are now. You're doing great, and in reality, they're like not.
And going back to what you were saying about being a personable people person. I don't remember if I said it correct. Right?
Personable.
The thing is, every time I hear Don Kincaid talk about you, I was like, why are you talking bad about Alan Compass? I like him.
Well, Don's a troublemaker, and I still owe him a crock bottom. Bottom is like a rock bottom, but it's more Australian, obviously.
All right.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, when I've met you, I've never had a reason to dislike Alan Compass.
You know why? You know why I drive Don crazy? Because he likes to take pictures with everybody.
Yeah.
And every time he goes to take a picture with me, I start monologuing. And he's like, it's not a video. I'm like, I don't care.
And I think that's why, like, I always got confused. I'm like, hey, lay off of Alan. I like Alan Compass. I'm an Alan Compass fan. And he's like, Jackie G, you don't understand.
No.
I'm like, I don't understand because I don't,
I love that he calls me Jackie.
He always calls me Jackie G, and I think it started one time from a TOS show in 2020. And I had no clue why he called me that at the time. But
first time I ever heard it was when we went to my first Invicta show.
Yeah. So.
And I'm like, why? And then later I'm like looking at you like, why do you call you Jackie G? That's like from like Misery or not Misery.
So that's why I was always
shining.
From the person I've met through you. It's like, why are all these guys like having problems with him? Like, Alan Compass is so nice. Like, I don't get it. But then again,
No one really has a problem with me. It's all fun. It's all pretend.
Have you met any of the original besides the owner of the Four Horsemen, like Ric Flair or Arn Anderson?
No. I just debuted at this place called AIWF, and it's been around 32 years. It's affiliated with indie companies all across the world, and I got to hang out and just chit chat with Michael. I'm gonna kill his last name. Elgin, Michael Elgin, former Ring of Honor champion. He's got several wins over Kenny Omega in New Japan. He's good.
There you go.
Yeah, and it was the first time I've ever wrestled down south, which was so different. It just the atmosphere was the venue was so cool. Like the people hated me. That was nice.
And this is
like in a good way.
Personal. I feel like a lot of down south promotions do it bigger than what we do up here, and I'm hoping that that's something me and you can one day change in the next 5 to 10 years. Like make it like Northeast Wrestling does it. They do it pretty big.
Things. They want big meaty men, just you know what I mean?
Right, they're a little backwards, but then yet they're like advanced, if that makes any sense. They want that big beefy beefcake 80s wrestler, but at the same time their promotions are kind of big, if you go on IWG TV and you look at all the different indie promotions and you click on them, you're like, holy crap, like how come none of the ones up here or in like the tri-state area are they like that? But I get it, it comes with money.
I felt like I walked out like into an old school WCW like entrance feel, and instantly they're just like, oh, we don't like this guy. And then Bloodsaw, who I've faced over here a few times, comes out. He's my opponent over there. Comes out, and he didn't even have to do anything. He said he was saying, well, that didn't make sense. I just walked through the curtain, and they're like, yeah.
So they automatically, the fans picked who was the face, who was the heel.
They knew. They knew.
That's cool. I don't know. I just think down south, but then again, like that's, maybe all they got going for them in certain things, up here, it's all that different sports and shit like that. So like we got football, baseball. So that's where a lot of people, and hockey, maybe, down south, that's their thing. But were you at the show that Alex Aceta debuted in?
Who?
The owner of Invictus. Were you there? For that show? He wasn't there.
No, I've met him a few times. He's actually been doing commentary for OCW.
Mm-hmm.
I just won my first belt ever. That's exciting.
I was so happy for you. Look at that. You got some gold.
First ever belt and first ever I-91 champion. That's exciting.
Okay.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
Inaugural champion. Love it. Love it.
So my question is about when people get the belts or whatever, it's like good on a resume, right? So if you were to like say train for WWE or AEW, having a belt shows
I think it shows a lot of like leadership.
Okay.
I mean, I know that's very much how it is in WWE. It's like, hey, you're a locker room leader,
I could see that.
I could see that with it's different with tag teams, like because they're a duo. They're always going to be a duo unless, unfortunately, if a really good duo gets broken up because of the
I could see that because like with example Tesla Strength, I could see Ichiban as their locker room leader being their K1 Classic champion. I could see with
But how would he speak in the locker room? Ichiban. Like
he's actually extended his vocabulary lately. So
because he made a comment saying that he thought Ichiban was like a Pokemon because that's all he said was his name. So like that's just why I made that like joke of how does he like perform in the locker room? Does he just point and go Ichiban like blink?
My favorite Ichiban moment was when they had him win a winning raffle ticket, and he's like, number one, and Flashball was like, that's not what this is.
Oh, I was at that show.
Yeah.
I was at that show, and Swicky won the raffle.
Oh, that's cool.
My friend Mike Swicky won the raffle. and he jumped right in the ring, and I've never seen my friend is like my coworker, and he's like a big giant kid. Like he never won any raffles, and then the minute he won, he flew out of his seat and almost knocked Ichiban down to hug him because he was so excited. I was like, oh my God, bro. But yeah,
like Ichiban hugs you, Ichiban.
But I never knew that, like, I always thought Ichiban, like I said, was a Pokemon because all he did was say his name, because you know how Pokemon, all they do is say. So that's what I thought, he had like a Pokemon thing. So so going in, I-91, did I say it right? I-91 champion.
Yep.
Right? I now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think I know who you beat for that, because I know that I may or may have not I'm familiar with the person you faced with the last show.
Yeah. So here's the story with it. Fantastic. So I had a match first earlier in the night. It was me and PJ Savage, one of the coolest matches I ever had. What an awesome dude. Yeah, he got the better of me in that match. The inaugural I-91 title was won in a Royal Rumble at the end of the night.
Oh, okay.
Where it then came down to me and PJ Savage at the end.
Oh
boy.
So I got my revenge. I got my revenge, but then he came in the ring and shook hands, because, like most places, this was the other example. It's like most places are making me just be face now, because they're like, oh, you made the fans hate you in the beginning, but halfway through they're like, oh, I like him. He's funny. He's funny.
So now I have, I guess, a kayfabe kind of question.
I'm horrible with
when you're gonna go into a Royal Rumble, and those are my favorite pay-per-views of all time. Like, it's the first pay-per-view I've ever watched. So when you're in the Royal Rumble, do they tell you who's gonna like take the title, or do they kind of say, all right, we're gonna leave it to these 4 people, you fight it? And again, obviously on TV, it's gonna be different.
I can't answer that question.
Oh, but I want to know.
Can I ask though? Do you know what number you are? May I ask? And like, do they do at?
We had to know what number we were.
Okay. Was there an actual? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No. I was like, you gotta let us know what numbers were coming out, because we will not know. Like, unless you're playing our music and we're all just waiting, and they're like, all right, here we go. I'm like, either tell me my number or play the music.
Also, you're just like scrolling through TikTok or something, and your music drops, and you're just like not listening.
I wanted to know, like, do you guys actually like do like a whole, like, you know, like R-Truth did with the Rumble, like you spin like a wheel with like a bunch of like number balls in it, or
I
do you
feel
like
we should
just like throw everything in a hat and then just pick it up?
I've only been in 2 Rumble situations.
Okay.
Both times they're like, you're number 6, you're number 3. I don't know. All right. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna comment on this year's Royal Rumble. I think R-Truth was like 100% the showstopper. Like the entire night, he had me laughing.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, if it's him or if he's working with Hunter or whatever it is, it's golden. I think it's the funniest thing. I saw a TikTok of him. It was like, they were like, I'm in the whatever they're called.
And so, and a lot of people don't want to do that. Like, this is the thing I love about wrestling now more than anything, is I can be myself 100%. Like, there's a lot of people before I started wrestling where it's like I didn't feel comfortable being this version of me in front of people because I'd be judged or whatever. But since I started wrestling, they're like, "Oh, that's the persona. That's the persona." That's not a persona. That's who I am. And I'm that silly. I'm that silly guy.
Do you like that? Do you like that? That's where wrestling is going in that sense. Where
I don't think it is. I think too many people still want to be the powerhouse. You can't beat me up. I'm the.
I can agree with that, but I'm saying so.
You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right, and I've heard that many times. But so last night was the first time I watched any AEW product in a year, if that, maybe a little less, maybe a year. And it's funny, and I really don't see storylines like how they do with WWE. Like, you know that, like, okay, these 2 are going at it because they have a story together, or whatever the case may be with AEW. Again, I haven't watched, So I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of them are kind of just true to who they are. Like versus WWE, where I feel like they have a character, you kind of have to play that character, like you know, or you're dating, but in reality they're like on two different spectrums of dating. Like I feel like with AEW, that's what you're getting, which I kind of like, and that's how I feel about the indie circuit.
What I have found everywhere now, and it makes sense to me now that I've been doing it for a little bit, is there will be 2, maybe 3 storylines wherever you are, whether it's indie, main, WWE, wherever you are. Maybe there's 2 or 3 storylines going on at a time. Everyone can't be involved in a story because then that's too much for the fans to really pay attention. Like, they don't want. I want you to focus on this, and then the other matches are not filler matches, but the other matches are there for your entertainment too. Like, all right, here's regular matches, and then this guy's gonna win, and that's gonna build him up the ladder a bit to get into another story.
Now my question, it's like, okay, like you said, so they're gonna throw these 2 people that have nothing to do with any of the stories going on, and then see like how do the crowds react to them, and if it reacts really positive, then they could say, oh well, now they can do something, like, or if it doesn't, hey, it was an entertaining match to see, or it was like, in a way, I hate to say the word a filler match, but
every match should be able to tell you a story without it being, hey, this guy attacked me from behind or hit me with a car. Now I need revenge. No, I could go out there and have a match. I'll never forget. I was wrestling Storm Silver, Surfer Boy, and we were just one-on-one. It's just a match they threw together, and then it's up to us to tell that.
Matches between, and I'm gonna say people that have passed and maybe names people don't really like, Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. They could put on a show without having like actual verbal confrontation. And I was just watching an Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio match, 2005 SummerSlam, and I'm only saying dates because I just watched it on my phone. And yes, there was a story behind it. It was the whole Dominic Mysterio, could he be Eddie's kid, whatever. But just them in the ring, they don't even have to talk, and it's like they're putting on a musical, or they're putting on an actual play. But like there's just chemistry. Dean Malenko and Benoit, like all that.
I love Malenko. Malenko's one of my favorites. Here's a fun. Malenko's a man of 1,000 holds. All right, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm the man of like 26. Am I saying that Dean Malenko's better than me? No, maybe. I just have the best 26 holds. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
But like it's matches like that don't need, like you said, they don't need a story.
No.
They're putting it out in the ring, and you kind of get like when it's all said and done, you're just kind of like, that could be the most memorable part of the show. And it had nothing to do with whatever chaos was happening.
You have no idea. You never know at whatever given moment. This match that was just, hey, I might not have even been scheduled to face you. It might have just been, hey, the guy. The very first time I stepped into the ring in a singles match, not even a regular singles match. It was like a barroom brawl. Vlad, his opponent wasn't there, and they said, hey, kid, it's you and Vlad now, barroom brawl. I was like, oh, all right. People came outside that weren't even there for wrestling. It was at the Cadillac Ranch, so a lot of people were there for food. And they're like, listen, I'm not even into wrestling. That was the most entertaining thing.
You looked just like John Moxley when you did that. That's why I was like, you look like John Moxley.
I apologize. Right, I swear I love your story. It's just I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, and I promise I wasn't yawning at your story.
I didn't even see it. No, I have my glasses on. I can't see anything.
You literally went like this, and the way your face puffed up, you looked like John Moxley.
I only did that because I'm trying not to be rude, because I don't want to make it look like I'm yawning on camera and not being interested. It's just.
I have a question. Have you ever faced an opponent, whether you knew him or not, and the match just, in your mind, went sour because they weren't either working with you physically right, or just there was no chemistry, so you're kind of just like, oh, I don't know what to do. So
never. So I am very grateful that I can say I am happy with almost every match I've ever had.
That's awesome.
And I was last week, while the match was still a good match, I was upset with it, and I blame myself. And I don't really blame myself as in, oh, Alan, you screwed this up. I blame it as like, so last Saturday I wrestled, but the Sunday before, I got so sick that I literally texted my wife. I go, I'm going to die. Like, I'm not making it out of this. Like, I lost 12 pounds in one night. I got so thick, throwing up. I didn't know what was wrong. I had a stomach bug, and I knew at the end of the week I had to get better because I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday wrestling. And Saturday night I was facing Louis Leon, great kid, awesome talent, and I was afraid I'd go into that match and get blown up because I knew I just didn't have all my nutrition back in me yet. And I 1000% was blown up in that match. So I felt bad that I wasn't 100% for him. But we pulled it together. We had some really cool moments in the match. But, things happen. And you just got to, it wasn't with me, but up in North Carolina, Jekyll was in a match up there with us, and the guy on the other team, the guy on his team got knocked out with a clothesline.
Oh.
Out. Jekyll took it up, and they were going to go home 2 minutes into the match. It's a 6-man tag. Jekyll intervened, hit the other guy who was supposed to make a comeback, and said, "You're taking the heat now. You've been promoted to take heat now. We'll figure it out." And that was some leadership stuff. Like, sometimes you just got to call audibles. It happens in big time.
Now I have a kind of odd, funny question, and I don't think I've ever asked anybody this. Have you ever felt sick in the ring where you were like, I'm either gonna shit myself or I'm gonna puke. Like, I gotta go. So end the match now.
I think he was.
I never ended the match.
He said he was sick prior to. Okay. He had days before that. But still.
But I will not eat anywhere near my match. Any day that I'm scheduled for a match, it ends up being I'm gonna go out, have a big breakfast. That's it. I have my match, and later on in the night, even if it's stupid late, I eat after. That's
okay.
Because once I took a suplex and I was like, oh man, my stomach is rumbling. I do not want to do that again.
And I've heard stories about wrestlers that will not eat prior to a match because they know some of them will, and some will just not touch a single ounce of food. I've heard stories about some of I don't know if I'm gonna spoil this. I think there's a guy in TOS. I can't remember his name.
You don't have to drop a name.
It's
embarrassing.
A friend of one of the wrestlers from TOS had mentioned that this guy will not eat a single bit of food the entire day. He will fast all the way throughout the day except for water. And then after his match is over, he'll chow down like he's never chowed down. He wouldn't even try this girl's cookies that she made for his birthday.
I don't want to risk it.
I mean, that makes sense.
And then once his match was over, he went to her and he took a cookie and he's like, "Oh my God, this cookie's so good."
That makes sense. I'm one of those superstitious weirdos. I don't try to eat a big meal if I know I'm driving 2-3 hours, because you don't want to get bubble guts and stuff like that. Or, go on a roller coaster, you don't want to eat a hot dog or something, before going on adrenaline kicking things. So I get it in that sense. You don't want to all of a sudden have to pucker up because your butt's ready to go. So that makes total sense. I just would never want to get farted on with those moves. Those are always my favorite questions to ask if someone has ever ripped ass in front of someone's face.
Now I've got a question. Besides wrestling, what does Alan Compass enjoy in his free time?
Not snakes, obviously.
Obviously not snakes.
Right.
What do you like to do in your free time? I love hearing what wrestlers like to do, enjoy in their free time.
I don't know how I do as many things as I do in my free time. It's ridiculous. A tattoo. I've been tattooing for 15 years. Yeah.
Wow. I'm getting a tattoo by him. Hello. I'm completely off. The lighting in here is so bad, but I'm completely sleeved. I need more fillers.
I love. Sometimes, I used to be in a big band, so sometimes I'll jam. We do 2 shows a year now. That's it. We do a big suicide prevention awareness show. That's it.
That's awesome.
That hits me in the heart. We're
gonna give a heart for that.
Another heart.
Heart emotion. I'm a big video gamer. I used to do fighting games professionally, and then it just comes to a point where it doesn't matter how good I get at it. If I don't have the time to do it consistently, it's not worth doing it. So now I try to mainly play like story-based games that I can do single. I'm all about my Nintendo Switch. So.
You know what's so funny? I just read an article. I love my Switch. I do. And I only recently just got an Xbox. Like I had all the systems growing up. Like I think my last between Xbox 3 and PlayStation, my last PlayStation was the 4 at a Vader. I love my Darth Vader one. And then I haven't had an Xbox since the 360. And then, you know, rough times called for me to kind of go back to the old version of me, bring her out a little bit, which was a gamer. But now I'm stuck. I only just play Black Ops 2. Like that's where
there was a point where we were playing Mario Party like every single weekend.
Like my Switch was like my
and now
it was like my phone, my Switch.
Now she's been offline for like weeks.
I know, and it's just funny. I just saw an article. I love Animal Crossing. Like that's just one of my games that I like love. So, and I saw that like new critters came out, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll go back into it tonight. Like I'll clean my island again. Like. But
something I always wanted to do, and I never did it. I always wanted all 120 stars in Mario 64. I just never. I just beat the game as a kid. I'm like, yeah, I beat the game. Cool, I'll be the last one. But I never I need all.
I don't think I ever beat the game.
I've been playing the Switch at the children's bus stop because they're like an hour apart from each other, which is not annoying at all. So I'll be sitting there at the bus stop, pick the first one up. And then I'm just playing Mario 64 on my Switch, and I've got 3 left. I've got 100.
Well, a year ago today, Joe apparently got a hard level and got a star, and I accidentally deleted it.
Funny story about Super Mario 64. Ready for this? We were at last year's 2TW show. I had just recently bought a Nintendo Switch.
No, you didn't buy it. I gave it to you.
She gave it to me. I bought the Joy-Cons, and I was playing. We lost. Did we lose you? Oh, no. The camera just goes out sometimes. I was playing Switch in between intermission.
I'm still here.
Okay, I was playing Mario 64 between intermission, and I was like really having a good time with it, and we were having a blast and all this other stuff. And it was just to kill time in the intermission because I really didn't need to go buy anything during intermission. Like I had everything. She didn't have the even Stevens plushies that were there that what she wanted so bad. But that was all ended up happening. And we were sitting there just enjoying intermission. She grabs my Switch in the middle of intermission. She starts taking over. Show starts back up. She exits out of my game before I saved.
Yeah.
And it was one of those levels where I was cruising through to get the 100 coins, and it was one of the tough ones. And I got all 100 coins. I didn't get to save the level before I left. And then she just shut off the thing. I'm like, what did you do?
Because I'm one creature of habit where if I get out of a game on my Switch and I know I saved, I'll just exit out of the game completely, so it doesn't especially if it's not charging or on its dock, it'll just run. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna save him time or save his battery and exit out. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know he was in the mix of a bad level. Or
I'm not one of those crazy gamer guys, but when I put the work in and I'm trying really hard to get that thing, I like to make sure I don't have to do it again.
No, I agree.
Because I swear there was one time I was playing a game on the Xbox and I invested 14 hours just to unlock this one sword in a zombie game, and somebody erased my data.
Oh, that would make me.
And mad. I was so upset, and I've not to this day been able to get that sword again in the game. And
I'm gonna throw my neighbor under the bus. When Kingdom Hearts 2 or 1 was really big, I walked over and again we have a fenced yard where our gates are. I could just go out my gate, go into his gate, and then we have the same setup where he has a sliding glass basement door. So I went in. Motherfucker was beating the game as I walked in, and I just was like, now I don't want to play it anymore because I saw the ending and I was like, well, I have no reason to beat this game anymore.
That's great.
Yeah, that's not me. I just like to play.
I think it was Kingdom Hearts 2.
You know what's weird is I'm such a single player guy that I don't like to play online.
I like online.
She likes to play online. I'm not a big online guy. I like to play by myself.
I won't play Fortnite. That's just no.
I like to play solo because it's go ahead.
It's funny. Did you just say Fortnite? Is that what you just said? All right, funny. So my child was like, Dad, I want to play Fortnite. Can you download it for me? I'm like, yeah, it's free. I'll download all the free things in the world you want. He's like, but I want you to play it with me. And I was like, I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to play Fortnite. I was like, I don't know. Sure, fine, whatever. I'll try it out. So he's at school, And I set up my own file on the Xbox, him on the PlayStation, and that way he's got someone to play with. I played 4 games, and I won all of them. I go, I'm really good at Fortnite. What the hell?
I just don't understand.
And I have a metal crocodile as a character, so I mean, that's.
I mean, if you're on it on the Xbox, I might consider checking it out just because.
I would like to actually, in my brain, to say, hey, it would be fun to just like kind of game with people online. I think that would be cool.
Well, that's like me. So that's why I got my Xbox back, because I was like, all right, if I can reactivate my Xbox account, I will 100% buy an Xbox. So I had the Xbox app on my phone, and I was like, oh, if I can't get into King of Kings, that was, again, I'm a huge Triple H fan, so King of Kings was my gamer
huge
tag.
Triple H fan, named her cat after Triple H.
Would die if I actually physically met him.
My arm would get broken if we actually went to a meet and greet.
And it's not, I don't find him attractive. It's just, he's just been my favorite.
Nobody asked that.
Well, no, I have to clarify, because some people are like, oh, no, like, no, it's just been, he's my favorite.
Since I've been friends with Kelsey since 2016, all I've heard from the day I've met her was that she's a massive Triple H fan. And the thing is that it's something that has driven me crazy for like almost 9 years now. And what is hilarious about it is that every time the topic of if she ever meets Triple H comes up, the same story comes up, because she named her cat after Hunter. Yeah. She would sit there and not be able to talk at the meet and greet. She would grab my wrist to the point where it cracks and breaks, because she wouldn't be able to contain herself.
I get such phobia.
Nobody would be able to handle the puddling like I do for her.
I would just not know what to say to the man. I'd be starstruck, because like he just is my favorite. And
dude, you should have seen her the way when we met Bully Ray at NEW years ago, or when we met Scott Hall.
Oh, I wish I got to meet Scott Hall. I was supposed to hang out and be at an event with Kevin Nash, but his father-in-law passed away the day before.
And I'm just an awkward person, and I just went up to him, and it was at an NEW Wrestling Under the Stars event. So I met him, and I had just bought this like Triple H like old school folder from him from like, oh my God, 2003 era. And I like went up to him, not realizing they were actually like best friends. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, can you sign this? But even though your enemy goes, that's my son's godfather. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and it was so cool, like, to be in like the realm of a man that like literally has dinner with this man like all the time. And then I just turtled. I was like, nope, can't talk to you now.
And then a year later, I think, or 2 years later, she met Scott Hall.
Oh no, that was like years later.
With me.
Well, I met Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, but I was more interested in getting Kevin Nash's autograph and picture. And then years later, I ended up meeting Scott Hall like a year or two before he passed away. So like that was pretty cool. And like I went up to him, I was like, I can't even talk to this man.
And she wanted him to say, "Hey yo," and he just kept messing with her.
And he was like messing with me, and I was like, no.
He's like, "Hey so, hey whoa, hey yo." He just kept going and messing with her. He's like, "Please just say it." And he just looks. He's like, he looks at his partner or his person that was at the table. He goes, "This girl wants me to say like, I think, hey yo or something."
And that was the same time Teddy Long was there. There was a lot of good names there.
And he was just
Teddy Long is
Scott
hilarious.
Hall was so nice to us.
Oh, he was like so humble.
And we first took the photo, and then he's like, "All right, guys, bring it in."
Yeah,
bring it in.
Us, and that was so cool.
She becomes so struck with these moments.
But Teddy Long, I was really good with. He was just mad cool. Like if I know like a wrestler is just cool, like obviously wasn't a wrestler, but whatever. Like if I can feel the vibe and that they're fun, like we've met Enzo Amore multiple times, and he is one of the nicest wrestlers I've ever met. Like that were like once famous. He's just so humble and personable because like, he goes through it.
He's one of the only people. Now, I will give myself a lot of credit when it comes to talking and shooting promos. But he is the one person. I'm like, I ain't going up against that guy.
No, and like, I don't think there's ever going to be a man with a microphone like him. He is, if he never got like in whatever trouble it was, I don't remember. He could have been the next Paul Heyman in that sense of how he is on the mic.
He's so good.
He just. It's
I will
like
never
velvet.
understand how anybody could have a bad thing to say about that man, because when we met him, he was super, super nice to all of us.
And he advocates for people who have like severe anxiety, severe depression.
That's
like,
why I can't understand people that can be so mean sometimes about it. But you know, you can't have everybody win this.
Some people just. I have found I don't care what anyone's done in their past. I will always formulate my own opinion on somebody.
Thank you. And that's how I've always been.
Other people just hop on the bandwagon or just want, I don't know, start the drama. I don't know. But Alan Compass is a big fan of no drama.
We appreciate it. And so am I.
But and that's, I like what he said, because that's been me my entire life. And I was never part of the popular crew for that reason, because I never wanted to fit in that mold. Oh, you can't like that person. Well, why? Why can't I figure it out for myself? Like, why everyone doesn't like this person?
That's and that's why, like, you know, like people get surprised. Like when I started going to indie shows on the regular, everybody's like, "Oh, why is your favorites insanely rude?" Or "Why is your favorites like this person or that person?" I'm like, because I just connect with them, and with her, they'd be like, of all the people she loves on the tag team, it's the Even Stevens.
I love them.
It's it's the Even Stevens. It's the Mr. Evander James, the teacher with the golden stickers.
I love him.
You know, it's the people like that we like. Everybody's like, well, why do you like this person? This person's much better. And I'm just like, not really. Like, I kind of just like who I like.
Yeah, like I think everyone has a person out there, and
like there's some, and I'm a fan of a lot of wrestlers. I would know, I don't want to like go into details on anybody I wouldn't like personally, because I don't like to be that person. Like there are people, wrestlers I like and I respect the talent, and then there's wrestlers that I have a personal spot in my heart that I really, really love to see wrestle.
When Zayn retired, like this man was like broken.
Zayn Bernardo of Insanely Rude. And,
so and that's the thing. And when you're an indie fan and you're one of those like we're one of those fans that will follow people. Like I drove all the way to Long Island to go see the Even Stevens when they had a free event.
I remember that.
And I dragged this one. And mind you, my kid was only like 8 months old. And I was like, all right, I'm going to Long Island. And my mom was like, all right, have fun. Like you haven't been out, so go. And you find who you like based on how they act in the ring and how they act outside of the ring, and just, I like that they're goofy.
That's why
I like goofy wrestlers. I'm a goofy girl, so like when I see goofy wrestlers or have like you, where you're funny in the ring, like you'll make like a inside joke.
Can I just say I felt bad? I never wanted to make any like Australian jokes, and I didn't want to be that person, hit the stereotypes. But like,
I never even knew there was an Australian joke.
Just because I didn't know he was Australian, I didn't want to make a joke like, "Oh, I'd like to see you at Outback Steakhouse" or something. I felt like that.
We were all excited when we drove by an Outback Steakhouse on the way home. I mean,
but is their food as good as the real Australian food?
I've only been there like twice ever. Outback Steakhouse.
I mean, I guess Australians came out with the bloomin' onion.
So, but yeah, like I remember because when we drove to that show. And the funny thing is that even Stevens were like complete heels everywhere we were going, leading up to that show that we went to all the way down in like Lynbrook, New York.
They have a huge fan base down there.
Yeah, Creative Pro is crazy, and I think this is the first time I ever saw her legit cry at a show, and this you could tell that it was her team for life. We came out like her idea was we're gonna go, and as soon as their match came, we were gonna leave, and they were the main event, so we were there all night, and she was hoping like she wasn't going to get forgotten if they came out during the match. We were first row. They came out during their match, and I don't mean to take this away from you. They came out during their match, and they did their entrance. One of their opponents ripped my sign, and one of their opponents was about to target her sign, and Azure says, hey, leave our fans alone. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, and goes, hug me, brother. And instantly they engulfed her in a hug and me in a hug. And she just, did we lose you?
I'm still here. Hold on.
Oh, no. I got you.
I had
she was the happiest tears.
And then even after the show, they looked for me. They were like, "We are just so happy. Like you're not from this area. For you to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours down to see us means a lot to us because it only makes us want to do better, and get bigger. And then for them to connect with Alex at Test of Strength and, you know, with 2TW, like to see them branching out states blows my mind. And like to see that I was a part of their growth in the beginning, that's awesome.
Now,
like,
to get back on Alan Compass.
I like wrestlers like Alan who involve the fans. Like if he knows like, oh, one of us is going to be there, he's going to fuck
I want to say, I love how much you love Joshy. You know who I'm talking about. Josh is amazing. I think Josh.
Love the kid.
I think Josh claimed Kelsey at one of the last 2TW shows.
I was his girlfriend for the day.
So
he can claim me whenever he wants.
He is such a sweetheart. He's such a good person. I love him.
He's a good hugger too. He's an amazing hugger. So where would you like to see Alan Compass go next? Because I know we're getting close to wrapping it up. Where do you want to go next? Where would you like to like debut next if you had that?
So here.
I mean, I know I don't want to like spoil anything either.
No.
It's
okay because I got permission. I asked permission. So I'm gonna tell you the big match I got coming up and where it is, and my main goal. All right.
Okay.
June 29th, I go international when Mario Mancini comes out of retirement, and I tag with him in Canada.
Oh, okay. So another international.
I'm so pumped. I will be tagging with Mario Mancini in Canada, June 29th. I am so honored. I am super excited. And I mean, I'm blown away that I was one of the people picked. So
that's amazing.
I do have a lot of places that I will be debuting. A lot of places I'm very excited to go, but that's the number one big thing. My main goal now, after this last weekend, and we traveled, and I'm just in a whole nother world. Like I said, I was out there with some big names, and I was told by big names that, hey, you guys aren't from around here. Like you haven't worked this kind of crowd. Like we went down there and we said, all right, we're going to give them some of their Deep South wrestling, but we're going to put our New England flavor on it too. And they said nobody had the crowd like you two had that crowd. And that made me be like, that made me think, we can do this. And I don't care if if I get signed somewhere, phenomenal, blessed, awesome. But my goal, and I'm not a big internet guy, I'm not great at it, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm sharing every single day on one of the 3 platforms that I have. I want PWI 500. I don't care. That is my goal. I don't care if I make it to the top. I don't care if I'm number 500. One day, that's what I'm coming for. And I'm going to do everything.
And I could see you making that at some point because,
it's not
there's names around here.
It's not an unrealistic goal because
you're not like, oh, I'm going to shoot for WWE.
Because my pal Jay Bougie made it on there once.
Yeah.
But again, props to him.
He said something nice about him for once.
Yeah, Bougie can be talented. As much as that kills me to say. But I want to see that for you, and this is why I love seeing you guys on the indie scene. I want to see you guys make it there because there was a point in time I was seeing guys like Darby Allin right now at NEW, and he just participated in Sting's last match.
Can I say the weirdest thing about NEW right now? And because I'd like to clear the air because I have no idea why it's happening. NEW is making a lot of posts. Oh, Matt Riddle's coming. Matt Hardy's coming. All this stuff. We're finally coming back. And people are sending me these messages, like, are taking Snapchat or screenshots and sending me, hey, and look at this post NEW made. And what stands about this post that NEW made? That the first comment under it is, I don't care. We want Alan Compass. And I have now seen 4 different NEW posts with different people saying, we want Alan Compass. So I've worked NEW once. I've worked them once. It was phenomenal. I'm going there on the 27th. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to see what I can do. because you know what? I'm confident enough I believe I belong.
I think so.
I believe you can make it there, dude. But I would love to. I would love to see you there on a full-time basis. You know.
That would be a blast.
So we're gonna wrap things up. Alan Compass, we want to say thank you so much for taking the time with us tonight. I'm sorry for the delays that we had coming up, but it was such a pleasure to talk to you tonight. You know, whether it be about snakes or giant spiders, or learning that you're a gamer who wants to collect 120 stars in Super Mario, your career in wrestling, hearing about how you won your first ever championship, you know, where we want to see Alan Compass next. See, I love it. I love the belt. I dig the belt.
I knew I should bring this down here.
And just being the kind of guy that you have been, I've seen at several shows, and I cannot wait to see you on at 2TW coming up. It's going to be awesome. Alan, if you got any, where do you want the people, if you want more of the Alan Compass fan base to follow you, where do you want to plug yourself through?
Yeah.
Where they can find you.
So I am on Facebook, Instagram, and whatever Twitter has changed its name to, the letter X. All right. I have set those up, and it's all just that Alan Compass. I tried to do YouTube, but I did not understand it. So I'm going to stick with the other ones that I get. So that's fine.
I don't do any of the uploads. That's his job.
My child, who's 11, has like 200,000 views on video game stuff. It blows my mind. I was like, I got 10 likes today. Oh my, me.
Yay!
Oh, great.
So, Alan Compass, we want to say, don't hit the stop button. We want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. For everybody who watches the Rising Star podcast, coming up in the future, we've got the infamous Ryan Frost coming on next Monday.
Yep.
We've got the Red Dog, Clifford Miller, joining us on the 25th. And we're looking to fill a spot on.
I think Keith Youngblood really wants to get on.
We're gonna try with Keith Young. We're gonna try to look to see who we could fill in for the. Hang on, I'm sorry, for the 18th, because I got an open spot on the 18th. So if there's anybody interested in wanting to come on, spread your craft or spread your name out there, get yourself some exposure, just hit me or Kelsey up in the.
Or we might just go live
the DMs, or maybe we'll bring a fan on instead. You never know. But Alan, once again, sir, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate you taking the time. And I
gotta go wake up a 3-year-old before she does not sleep the rest of the night.
So thank you so much, and everybody, I hope you enjoy this episode.